Welcome to the deep dive. Picture this for a moment. You're standing at the precipice of a critical decision in a bustling A&E, the kind where every second truly counts.
hmm
Or perhaps you're about to start a really difficult conversation with a patient's family, delivering news that's going to change their lives forever.
Yeah, those are incredibly tough moments.
Or maybe it's less dramatic, but just as relentless, that quiet battle you have every morning just to prioritize your own well-being. Carve out a bit of time for yourself before the demands of another day in medicine start piling up.
Absolutely. We see this all the time.
We medical professionals were driven by this innate desire to excel, aren't we? To give the absolute best care. But paradoxically, we often find ourselves wrestling with these universal challenges, that self-doubt, the sheer inertia when you're knackered, that feeling of being completely overwhelmed.
It's a very real pressure cooker environment.
Yeah.
That hesitation you mentioned, that tiny split second before acting, it's universal, but in medicine, well, the stakes are often higher, aren't they?
They really are. Precision, timing, resilience, they're paramount. And those small hesitations, they can have significant ripple effects, can't they? Not just on us personally, but on patient care team dynamics.
Exactly. It impacts everything, which leads us nicely into what we're discussing today.
Yes, precisely. We're exploring a framework today, one that sounds deceptively simple, maybe even a bit like a quick fix. It's often called the 5-second rule.
Yeah.
But this isn't just some productivity hack, is it? It seems to go much deeper. It's presented as a tool for activating courage, intentional action, particularly in those high-stakes moments.
That's the core idea. It taps into some fundamental psychological, even neurological principles. It's a practical way to interrupt that tendency we all have to overthink, to pull back from difficulty, or just, take the easy route.
Okay, so our mission for this deep dive is pretty clear then. We want to break down what this 5-second rule actually is, look at the science behind it, why it supposedly works.
All right, the why is crucial.
And critically, how you, as a medical professional, can potentially leverage it. We'll explore if it can genuinely help with personal well-being, which, let's be honest, often takes a hit in our line of work.
It's usually the first casualty, yes.
And whether it can boost clinical effectiveness, leadership skills, all within this incredibly demanding profession, we really want this to be about actionable insights for your professional and personal life.
It's about turning those moments of hesitation, potentially, into moments of, well, decisive action. And the claim is that this can lead to quite profound changes.
So if it's about transforming moments, what's actually happening in our brains during those 5 seconds? Let's get into the neuroscience. What exactly is this 5-second rule?
Okay, so at its core, the 5-second rule is described as a metacognition tool. Fancy term, I know.
Uh-huh, sounds it.
But it basically means a technique to sort of outsmart your own brain. It's a simple countdown, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. And that countdown is designed to trigger immediate, deliberate action.
Jigo meaning you physically move.
Yes, you physically move. The idea is it interrupts that cycle of overthinking, the self-doubt, the putting things off.
It does sound incredibly simple, almost childlike, but the story behind it, how it came about, is quite personal and, well, quite raw, isn't it?
It really is. It wasn't developed in a lab. It came from Mel Robbins, who talks very openly about being at rock bottom. Huge financial problems, marriage difficulties, career completely stalled, confidence, well, non-existent.
Wow.
She describes feeling so overwhelmed that just getting out of bed felt like climbing Everest. The snooze button was her nemesis. Alarm goes off, brain floods with excuses. Too tired, what's the point? 5 more minutes won't hurt.
Oh, I think many of us know that feeling.
Absolutely. Hitting snooze repeatedly, sometimes for an hour. It set the tone for the whole day, constantly tired, late, feeling defeated before she'd even started. A real vicious cycle.
So not some grand revelation, just a daily struggle against inertia, and then this rocket launch idea. Sounds a bit random.
It was completely out of the blue. She saw a TV ad with a rocket launching that classic 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 countdown. And this thought just popped into her head, seemingly from nowhere. That's it. I'll launch myself out of bed tomorrow. Like a rocket.
Seriously.
Yep. Totally instinctive, almost silly. But crucially, she didn't dismiss it. The next morning, same dread, same excuses flooding her mind, telling her it was stupid. But she ignored the feelings, physically counted backwards, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then just moved. Threw the covers off, swung her legs out, stood up.
Wow. Just like that.
That single physical movement against all that resistance was the start. Her first step in taking back control, essentially.
That's actually quite powerful, how these small internal nudges, if you act on them, can be turning points. So that's the what. Let's dig into the why. What's the science? Why does a simple countdown work?
Okay, the why is where it gets really interesting neurologically speaking. Counting backwards does something specific. It acts as an interruption pattern. It distracts your mind from the usual excuses.
Yeah.
Well, instead of dwelling on why you shouldn't act, the counting forces your brain to focus on a simple sequence, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then immediately on the idea of movement.
Oh, okay.
And when you physically move, your physiology changes and your mind tends to follow. It breaks that loop of hesitation. It acts as a starting ritual, essentially, that activates a key part of the brain,
Which part are we talking about?
the prefrontal cortex.
Ah, the brain's CEO, the command center for planning decisions.
Exactly. That's the bit responsible for focus, deliberate action, initiating change. The 5-second rule is like flipping its on switch. It helps override the automatic, often unhelpful defaults that live in older parts of the brain, like the basal ganglia.
The habit center.
Precisely. The basal ganglia are brilliant for automating habits, good and bad, think driving a car. But they're not great at breaking habits without conscious effort. Hitting snooze, procrastinating those, become closed-loop patterns. Highly efficient, automatic, but unhelpful.
So the countdown is a conscious interruption.
Yes, it's a deliberate way to bypass those ingrained habits and activate the prefrontal cortex to choose a different action, to forge a new path, if you like.
Okay, creating a new neural pathway, essentially. And this 5-second window concept, that sounds critical.
It really is.
Yeah.
This might be the core principle. It's not just 5 arbitrary seconds. It's described as your brain's hardwired sabotage window.
Sabotage window. Explain that.
There's a very brief moment, apparently less than 5 seconds, between you having an instinct or impulse to do something positive, speak up, start a task, reach out, and your brain's protective mechanisms kicking in.
Protective mechanisms like fear,
Yeah.
doubt.
Exactly. Your subconscious is wired for safety, comfort, avoiding difficulty. In those few seconds, if you hesitate, it unleashes a flood of excuses, fears, self-doubt. It rationalizes not doing anything that feels difficult, scary, or uncertain.
So hesitation signals danger to the brain.
In a way, yes. If you pause after that initial impulse, it flags the action as potentially risky, and the brain slams on the brakes to protect you. The rule is designed to help you act before those brakes engage, to exploit that brief neurological window.
That resonates powerfully with the pressures in medicine. Constant need for quick decisions, but high stakes breed apprehension, that inner critic.
Precisely. Think about those micro-hesitations.
Hmm.
Before speaking up in an MDT meeting with a crucial observation maybe, or challenging an assumption in a tricky case review.
Definitely. Or initiating that tough conversation with a family about, say, end-of-life care. The words feel heavy.
Or even just deciding to take a proper break when you're drowning in work, your brain screams you can't stop. Understanding this isn't about willpower. It's about recognizing the brain's default protection mode,
Right.
and then using a simple physical tool to override it. It helps you bypass the automatic self-sabotage and act on your better judgment or instinct.
That makes a lot of sense. Being proactive in the moment, rather than letting your brain talk you out of it. Which brings us neatly to everyday courage. We usually think of courage as, well, big, heroic stuff, don't we?
We do, rushing into burning buildings, battlefield bravery,
Yeah.
that sort of thing. And those acts are courageous, undeniably. But it makes us overlook the quieter, daily acts of courage that shape our lives.
So the 5-second rule redefines courage.
It frames it as simply the ability to do things that feel difficult, scary, or uncertain every single day. It's not reserved for heroes. It's something inherent in all of us, apparently, just waiting to be activated. Those small, consistent pushes.
So the courage to get out of bed instead of hitting snooze, or speak to your boss about something tricky, or make that difficult phone call you've been avoiding.
Yes.
And for doctors, nurses, healthcare professionals, maybe it's the courage to admit a mistake in an M&M meeting, knowing the scrutiny.
Absolutely. Or to respectfully challenge a senior colleague's plan if you have a strong evidence-based reason to. And it takes guts.
Or just facing another demanding shift after being on call, knowing patients depend on you.
Exactly. Each of those moments requires a push, which leads to a really crucial point. The myth of motivation. So many people, including high achievers, wait to feel motivated before they act.
And in medicine, waiting for motivation? Well, it's a luxury you rarely have, is it? Patients are waiting, decisions need making now, regardless of how you feel.
Precisely. The idea that you must feel ready or eager to act is largely a myth that holds people back. Often, motivation follows action, not the other way around.
Action creates motivation.
That's the argument. The rule encourages a bias toward action, the power of a push. It supposedly makes you the kind of person who acts rather than waits for inspiration or the right feeling. Take Rachel's story.
Okay.
She felt completely stud out, wanted to lose weight, improve her marriage, buy a house, but felt paralyzed. She started using the rule just to get up on time each morning. That one consistent push started a chain reaction. It built confidence. That confidence gave her the courage to start exercising, then tackle her finances, then work on her marriage. Within a fairly short time, she'd lost 30 pounds, bought a home, reinvigorated her relationship. Huge changes.
All stemming from just getting up on time.
Stemming from that initial, consistent push that built momentum and self-belief. A snowball effect, really.
That's quite something. And it links perfectly to controlling actions, not just feelings. In medicine, we're swimming in emotions, our own fatigue, stress, frustration, grief, and our patience. It's an emotional battlefield.
It absolutely is. And this distinction is vital. Neuroscientist Antonio Damasio's research suggests about 95% of our decisions are based on feelings, not logic. He calls us feeling machines that think, not the other way around.
Feeling machines that think. Wow.
So when you ask yourself, should I do this? Your brain often translates it to, do I feel like doing this? And the answer, especially if it's hard, is often no.
So we can't always control how we feel, especially under intense medical stress, the exhaustion, the grief, the ethical binds. But we can always choose how we act.
That's the key insight. The 5-second rule provides the mechanism to separate feelings from actions. It lets you bypass the emotional resistance and engage your executive function. Think of athletes. They train to push past pain, fatigue. They don't wait to feel like doing the last rep or running the extra mile. They push through the feeling. Medical professionals can adopt a similar mindset.
So I don't feel like it. I'm exhausted, overwhelmed, but I'm going to 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 go anyway because it's necessary.
Exactly. There's a great story of a nurse who learned the rule and immediately said she'd need to use it many times a day in her job. Breaking difficult news, doing an unpleasant procedure, speaking up, it resonated instantly.
A very practical shift from being ruled by emotion to taking decisive action. Let's apply this now to specific professional challenges. Starting with health. We all know we should eat better, exercise more, but doing it is another matter.
Indeed. Everyone wants better health. But we're not short on information, are we? Especially medical professionals. The barrier isn't knowledge, it's our feelings about diet and exercise.
The dread, the effort, the I'm too tired.
Precisely. The perceived discomfort, the deprivation, the sheer exhaustion after a long shift.
And that's where the rule comes in, because you'll genuinely never feel like it after 12 hours on your feet.
Exactly. The message is stark. You'll never feel like it, you just have to 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. This is so relevant for healthcare staff. Shift work, high stress, self-care often goes out the window. Waiting for motivation to hit the gym or cook a healthy meal instead of grabbing takeaway. Often futile.
It requires that push.
It gives you that immediate, decisive push to override the I don't feel like it voice.
Are there some powerful examples of this in action?
Oh, definitely. Charlie's story is incredible. Started at 383 pounds, 54-inch waist. Imagine the struggle. Tried everything, failed repeatedly. Heard about the rule, felt totally defeated, but decided to use it just to get up and walk around his house for 5 minutes.
Just 5 minutes.
Just 5 minutes. The rule helped him bypass the "it's too hard, you'll fail again" voice. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, move. He never felt like it, but he applied the rule consistently, day after day. Small acts, compounding. He completely transformed, not just physically, but mentally.
Wow. A result of thousands of small pushes.
Exactly. Then there's Erica. Started losing weight, but lost all motivation for workouts. Always had an excuse. Once she grasped she was never going to feel like working out, she used the 5-second window to push herself out the door. Realized exercise is 100% mental.
Your body won't go where your mind doesn't push it.
Spot on. And Anouk describes standing in her living room, body screaming, I really didn't feel like it, but using the rule to start her routine. Called it a boom, boom, boom moment, that surge you get from overriding resistance.
And for medical professionals, this isn't just vanity, is it? Self-care, physical health, they're vital for sustaining the career, preventing burnout.
Absolutely essential. Applying the rule to book that overdue checkup. Choose the healthier option in the canteen. Find 15 minutes for activity, even when knackered. It becomes an act of professional self-preservation.
Building resilience, one 5-second decision at a time. Okay, let's shift to productivity. In today's world, that really means FOCI-S, doesn't it? Managing
It
distractions.
really does. Distractions are everywhere. Phones buzzing, emails pinging, open plan offices, described as the kiss of death for deep work.
Productivity vampires.
Exactly. Email checking, for instance, can become addictive due to random rewards. You never know when an important one might arrive. That dopamine hit reinforces the checking behavior.
So the first step is deciding your goals are more important.
Yes. Consciously deciding your critical tasks matter more than notifications, then using the rule to act on that decision. 54321, phone in a drawer. 54321, close the email tab. You don't have to want to do it, just do it.
Makes sense. But there's something specific about the snooze button that sounds particularly relevant for medical staff needing peak performance early on.
Yes, this is quite eye-opening, with serious implications. We know sleep is vital, but how you wake up is critical too. Hitting snooze repeatedly can negatively impact brain function for up to 4 hours.
4 hours? Seriously, how?
Okay, so we sleep in cycles, 90, 110 minutes. About 2 hours before you naturally wake, your brain prepares lightning sleep. If the alarm goes off and you hit snooze, you force your brain to start a new sleep cycle.
Even for just a few minutes?
Yes. Then when the snooze alarm rings again, you're interrupting that fresh, deeper cycle. Your cortical region responsible for decision-making, attention, self-control is still deep in that cycle. It needs another 75 minutes or so to complete properly.
So you get sleep inertia, that groggy, impaired state.
Exactly. Persistent grogginess, disorientation, significantly impaired cognitive function for potentially hours. Now think about a doctor or nurse starting their shift. Morning rounds, assessing patients, calculating drug doses, communicating complex information.
You need to be sharp from the get-go.
Absolutely. Being in a fog of sleep inertia isn't just feeling tired. It could genuinely compromise performance and patient safety during those critical early hours.
That is genuinely crucial information. Makes owning your mornings even more vital.
It really does. Taking control of those first hours is a game changer. Research, like Dan O'Reilly's at Duke, shows the first 2 to 3 hours after waking are your brain's peak productivity time.
And if you're snoozing or scrolling socials, you're wasting that peak time.
You're squandering it. The 30 before 7:30 a.m. idea isn't necessarily about waking earlier, but being intentional with those first hours. Use them for your important musts, deep work, planning, exercise before the day's distractions hit, before the emails, before the ward rounds start demanding your attention.
Plan before the chaos descends.
Precisely, like Mari, who stuck to her morning ritual for 54 days of being a boss. Wake, hydrate, exercise, plan, it builds momentum, turns chaotic mornings into focused starts.
Protecting that prime mental time. Okay, let's tackle the beast. Procrastination. We often see it as laziness, a character flaw. But the research suggests it's more complex.
Much more complex, and often leads to a lot of self-blame. There's productive procrastination, letting ideas simmer, which can be creative. But we're focused on destructive procrastination, avoiding tasks with negative consequences.
And the root cause isn't laziness.
No, research consistently points to it being a coping mechanism for stress. Avoiding a difficult task feels like relief. Temporarily, watch a video, scroll online to get a little dopamine hit.
Ah, the short-term fix.
Exactly. But the avoided work piles up, deadlines get closer, and the initial stress comes back, often worse. It's a vicious cycle. Stress, avoidance, temporary relief, more stress.
Especially relevant in high-stress medical roles, so how do we break that cycle?
There are 3 research-backed steps. First, surprisingly perhaps, forgive yourself.
Forgive yourself. Why?
It's science, not just sentiment. Studies show students who forgave themselves for procrastinating on one test were less likely to do it on the next. Self-criticism just creates more stress and guilt, fueling the cycle. Forgiveness breaks that chain.
Okay, that's powerful. Step 2.
A mental reframe. Ask, what would the future you do? Dr. Timothy Pekel's research highlights the gap between our present self, seeking comfort now, and our future self.
Our ideal self.
Yes, visualize that future version of you thriving. Having completed the task, feeling less stressed, it provides objectivity and acts as a coping mechanism for the present stress. It motivates you to align today's actions with that future vision.
Right. Connect present action to future outcome. And the third step involves the rule.
Yes, finally. Just get started with the 5-second rule. Procrastination is a habit of avoidance. You need a new starting ritual. The rule becomes that ritual. Feel the urge to avoid. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and physically start the task, even for just 15 minutes.
Just start small.
Exactly. It taps into the progress principle. Any forward movement boosts mood, self-efficacy, releases dopamine, reinforcing the new habit. Invaluable for tackling those admin tasks research papers, patient follow-ups that feel overwhelming in medicine. It's a practical way back to control.
A really useful framework. Now, cultivating a resilient mind vital in medicine. How does the rule help with worry, anxiety, fear? Let's start with worry.
Worry is often seen as a mental habit, a sort of default setting the mind drifts to. If you don't give your problem-solving brain a real problem, it invents one.
So the key is interruption.
Yes, catch yourself worrying, not problem-solving, just cycling. Recognize it's unhelpful. Then 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and consciously redirect your thoughts to something positive, productive, or even just gratitude. Interrupt the pattern.
Like Mel Robbins worrying about her husband or daughters, realizing worry didn't help, it just stole the present.
Exactly. It's a mental habit you can break and replace. What's fascinating is how even feelings of love often trigger worry.
How do you mean?
Mel described watching her daughter try on a prom dress, pure joy. But almost instantly, worry kicked in. She's growing up too fast, fear of losing her. The protective instinct morphed into anxiety.
Wow, a beautiful moment, hijacked by worry. Doctors and nurses must relate the constant worry for patients, diagnoses, outcomes, fear of errors.
Absolutely. That pervasive worry is incredibly heavy, leading to chronic stress. The rule offers a tool to manage that burden, to stay present during a critical procedure or difficult conversation, rather than being consumed by what-ifs. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Refocus. Prevent worry from stealing your focus and peace.
Okay, moving from worry to anxiety and panic. There's a difference between normal panic and a panic attack.
Yes, a crucial one. Normal panic is a physiological response to a clear threat near-miss car crash. Body flows with adrenaline, heart races, but your mind knows why. A panic attack involves similar, intense, physical arousal, racing heart, breathlessness, sweating, dizziness, but without an obvious external trigger. The mind then scrambles for an explanation, often creating worst-case scenarios. Am I having a heart attack? Escalating the fear.
And just calm down doesn't work.
Often makes it worse. Trying to suppress it creates conflict, fights against the physical reality. The more effective strategy, counterintuitively, is reframing.
Reframing, how?
Instead of thinking, I'm anxious when you feel those symptoms, consciously tell yourself, I'm excited. Research, like Alison Brooks at Harvard, shows this doesn't reduce the physical arousal, your heart still races.
But it changes the interpretation.
Precisely. It gives your mind an empowering explanation for the physical feelings, allowing you to channel the energy. It leads to better performance in tests, public speaking, high-pressure clinical settings. Same energy, different label. Game-changing.
Changing the narrative around the symptoms. And the anchor thought technique for specific fears, like pre-presentation nerves.
Yes. For specific fears like flying or public speaking, you create a vivid, positive, specific image related to the goal, not the fear itself. Flying for holiday. Picture climbing that mountain, feeling the sun. For work, picture the successful presentation outcome or dinner with the client afterwards.
And when fear kicks in,
5, 4, 3, 2, 1 to flesh out the fear, then immediately pull your mind to that pre-chosen anchor thought. It gives your mind positive context, stops the fear escalating. Dina and Fran used this for fear of flying, became calmer, enjoyed the trips more.
that's incredibly relevant for clinicians, managing anxiety before complex surgery, pre-presentation jitters at a conference. Reframing stress as excitement could be huge for maintaining composure and peak performance.
Absolutely. Training the mind for empowerment over fear. And this process, consistently pushing through discomfort, directly builds real confidence. The key idea here, confidence is not a personality trait, it's a skill.
A skill you build through.
Through repeated acts of everyday courage. You're not born confident, you build it. You don't wait to feel it.
Not innate, but cultivated. That Cisco engineer story is a brilliant example.
Perfect illustration. Self-proclaimed introvert sees CEO John Chambers at an event. Instinct says approach him, but he freezes. Shyness, doubt. Watches Chambers walk away, regrets it.
Oh dear.
Next morning, sees Chambers jogging alone. Heart pounds, fear surges, urge to avoid. But this time, he catches the hesitation, remembers the rule, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, speeds up, taps Chambers on the shoulder, starts talking.
Despite the fear.
Yes, and the confidence he felt came from the act itself. Not because he suddenly became an extrovert, but because he acted despite discomfort. Doing it forged the confidence.
And these small acts, speaking up, asking questions, taking risks, they compound. Build self-trust.
They absolutely do, like Trace using the rule to speak at church, overcoming public speaking fear, or posting a vulnerable photo, or making tough decisions. Each time you face doubt, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and push past it, you prove to yourself you're capable. building a mental muscle.
So for medical professionals,
Okay.
presenting research, advocating for patients, taking on leadership roles, asking tough questions in grand rounds.
hmm Repeated action, despite discomfort, builds professional and personal confidence. A deep self-belief that serves you and your patients.
A practical way to develop confidence. Okay, let's go deeper now. Pursuing passion. People often wait for inspiration to strike, don't they? For passion to find them.
They do.
Yeah.
But the argument here is that finding passion is an active process of exploring your curiosity. Your instincts are the guide. If something keeps grabbing your attention, if you feel a little envious of someone's path, if a subject pulls you in, that's curiosity. Explore it.
So take practical steps. Don't just wait.
Exactly. Use the rule to initiate action. Read about it, take a class, talk to people doing it, write a plan. You'd be surprised where small explorations lead. Think of Chris, the bank CIO.
Right, who became a photographer.
He felt a pull towards photography. Used the rule to pick up his camera more, do a workshop, learn editing. Years later, through consistent pushes, he's a successful pro photographer. Not instant, but built through small, courageous acts.
More Joe, the banker turned speaker.
Same principle. One small public speaking class, driven by a 5-second push, blossomed into a career she loves. Passion built, not found. Started with curiosity, not certainty.
Inspiring. But then there's courage to commit, right?
Yeah.
Going all in, which feels terrifying.
It is. This is where you face the heart-first question versus the feeling-first question.
Yeah.
You need to ask, am I ready to commit to this?
Yeah.
Heart first. Not, do I feel ready? Feeling first.
Because you never feel ready.
Apparently not. Not for the big stuff. Committing despite uncertainty, discomfort, fear, that's the courageous act. Look at Todd's story.
The law student.
Yes. 4 years into law, knew from day one he wanted physical education. But fear of disappointing his parents paralyzed him. Miserable, trapped. The thought of telling them was soul-crushing. He found the rule. Used it despite sheer terror to make the call, have the conversation. Tough, tears, but it led him to his passion. Life-changing freedom, he called it. Found his path through courage over comfort.
And for medical professionals, this links back to burnout, doesn't it? Pursuing passions outside medicine isn't a luxury. It's vital for well-being, an anchor.
Absolutely. Applying the rule to carve out time for hobbies, volunteering, things that bring joy, it provides crucial balance, essential for career longevity. Creating whole life, not just a consuming career.
Makes sense. And finally, enriching relationships. Perhaps the most profound application. The power of say it.
Say it, meaning leave nothing important unsaid. Express what's truly in your heart.
Precisely. Finding the courage to express true feelings, vulnerability, appreciation, even difficult truths, rather than letting silence create distance. Think of Dawn.
Admired his daughter but never said it. Exactly.
Yeah.
Felt awkward. Used the rule to simply tell her how much he admired her. Transform their connection. Or Mel asking her father if he was scared before brain surgery.
Hesitated first.
Yes, instinct was to avoid the raw emotion. But 54321 asked him. Led to one of their most beautiful, honest conversations. A treasured gift.
Powerful moments. We hold back so often for fear of awkwardness, but silence has a cost: resentment, lost connection.
Silence creates cognitive dissonance. Misalignment between belief and expression. Breeds internal resentment, external distance. Anthony realized his silence was the problem in his marriage.
By not voicing needs.
Yes, led to resentment. Using the rule to voice his truth, despite fear of conflict, allowed them to finally address the real issues. And Estelle's courageous decision to ask for a divorce, painful short term, but led to life-changing freedom, finding her true self. Saying it isn't easy, but often liberating.
And Mary's story about Josh Woodruff. The friend she saw in the shop, didn't speak to, lost him a week later. Chilling. Sometimes there is no next time.
A stark reminder to speak your truth. Honor instincts to connect. In high-stress medicine, communication is vital feedback. Difficult family conversations, setting boundaries. Clear, honest communication is paramount.
So applying the rule here fosters connection, prevents misunderstandings.
That's the idea. Building stronger, more resilient relationships, professionally and personally. Honoring the instinct to connect before the moment passes.
What a journey through the 5-second rule. To recap, it's presented as a simple, science-backed tool for everyday courage. Transforming behavior, mastering the mind, pursuing passions, enriching relationships, reinforcing that greatness isn't out there somewhere, it's inside you, unlocked by small, courageous acts.
It's about seeing hesitation not as failure, but as a 5-second opportunity. A chance to choose courage over comfort, action over inertia.
Which brings us to our final thought for you. You are just one 5-second decision away from a completely different life. Think about that. What small, courageous action could you take today, right now, using 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 JO that could ripple into profound change in your career, your health, your relationships?
Where are you holding back? Where is resistance stopping you? How could a simple countdown and a physical push unlock possibilities you haven't dared to consider?
If you found this deep dive valuable, perhaps take a moment to rate and share the show with a colleague who might also benefit from these insights. Until next time, keep diving deep.